Hello, everyone.
Hi!
Welcome to Summongreaterpod.
A podcast about homebrew and homies. Could not have been prepared for that even if you had warned me.
I'm Sam.
I'm Skyler.
And we spend a hell of a lot of time theory crafting shit for Dungum and Dagum. As you well know, by the fact that this is, 30 episodes in. Congratulations to us.
I was going to say, is this officially number 30?
This is 30.
Hell yeah.
But often what we're obsessing over and theory crafting about when it's not Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition is Pokemon.
Yes.
Earlier this week, Skyler ran across a series of images on Pinterest, some really cool humanoid Pokemon. Skyler sent a bunch of these to me and was like, these are subclasses, clearly.
Yeah.
And I agree immediately. Most of these are probably something really interesting and really distinct. So we're tackling 2 or 3 of them today. Definitely 2, 3 if we have time. Which one of us wants to start more? Because I really want to get into it.
You can start if you want, man. Go for it.
Cool. So the one we're starting with is Greninja. And I have chosen to go the route of Monk for this, a Monk subclass. I'm calling it Way of the Dark Tide.
That's so freaking sick, dude. Greninja is one of my top 3 favorite Pokemon of all time. Mm-hmm. So I'm super excited for this.
Nice. Yeah, my basis for the ideas that go into this subclass is really how Greninja is represented most often in the media in which he appears. First of all, we've got a bonus proficiency. When you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you're going to gain proficiency in the stealth skill if you don't already have it.
Very good. Very good.
And then at 3rd level, we get into our first class ability. It's called Liquid Arsenal.
Oh.
At 3rd level,
my heart.
Your attunement to water itself allows you to create basic weaponry at a moment's notice, granting you the ability to summon a ninja toe or a shuriken. Now, I have chosen ninja toe because Greninja is very often seen using the water shurikens or a watery kunai. I shied away from actually making this a kunai because that's just too much of a piercing weapon in my opinion, and more often than not Greninja is shown using the sharp cutting edge of the blade for slashing damage of some sort.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He makes big sweeping flashy movements with it. So I went with the ninja toe, a short katana looking blade that is used more for that purpose.
Isn't that the straight one? Like katanas have a little bit of a curve.
Yes. But it does have a very notable sharp slashing edge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Still got the Tonto edge on it.
Mm-hmm. The damage type of the ninja toe is slashing and the shuriken piercing. Both use your martial arts die for damage. You're proficient with them, and you add your dexterity modifier to their attack and damage rolls. Ninja toe are light and finesse weapons, and shurikens are finesse and thrown weapons, with a range of 20-60.
Hell yeah.
The damage types will become important later. You may use these weapons in place of unarmed strikes, where applicable.
Ooh.
For example, you can use these for your flurry of blows attacks, or your extra attack.
Oh, that's so good.
This does mean that you get to throw shurikens as your flurry of blows.
Which is fucking sick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's water shuriken is Greninja's signature move post Gen 6, and I wanted to really lean into that.
Oh, yeah.
As much as I could. And just the idea of using flurry of blows like that is it. This is one of the biggest reasons. There are many, but this is one of the biggest reasons I went with Monk over Rogue or something for Greninja. Just because I felt flurry of blows and stunning strike and shit like that were very up his alley, I think.
Yeah.
So at 6th level, you get Wet Block.
I don't like the way that sounds, but I know it's going to be cool.
This is the way I've chosen to flavor Matte Block.
Okay, all right.
And also, I just thought it sounded really funny.
Wet Block. Like it sounds like, oh my God. Did you ever have the plastic Lego brick shaped containers that opened on the top?
Yes. I've also got this.
That is a Wet Block.
It's more of a gelatinous cube, but
that's fair.
It looks like a wet block.
It really does. No, we used to have those Lego containers.
Yeah.
And we put Play-Doh in them.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were idiot children. So I filled one with Play-Doh. But for some reason, like I had like water on my hands, or my hands were wet or something. Anyway,
this is like a very specific core memory to you.
Yeah, it really is. It just came out of nowhere.
I can't relate.
Scooping wet Play-Doh out of a Lego brick. Wet Block.
Why did you do that?
I was like 3, man.
That's wow. I can't believe what I pulled out of you. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Wet Block. At 6th level, you are able to conjure a watery version of the shield spell as a reaction when you expend 2 key points. You may choose to expend 1 additional key point to extend the effect of the spell to 1 other creature of your choice within 30 feet of you.
Oh, fuck. That's so good.
It gets better. If an opponent hits this spell with a melee attack, they must succeed on a strength saving throw or be knocked back from you 10 feet. Your spell save DC uses your wisdom modifier.
Damn. So
let's go over how Matte Block works.
Yeah.
No one uses it in like competitive or anything because it's a shit move.
Yeah.
But it does a lot of different things that I think are really interesting, and it's a well-flavored attack. You use it in the same kind of position you would use Fake Out, where an opponent swaps in, or is Fake Out when you swap? I forget. You use this move when an opponent swaps in on you, their first turn in combat. And if you throw up the Matte Block and they attack it, it forces them to swap out.
Oh, okay.
So that's my reasoning for the
pushback.
Burst of water that pushes them back if they come at you with a melee attack. And then also Matte Block protects your whole team.
Okay.
So that's why I've chosen to be able to expand the spell to a party member.
Yeah, I was going to ask, when you use that extra key point to do the range on it, does it still affect you and the other person? Or is it... Okay.
Oh, yeah. So until the start of your next turn, both you and, party member that you pick have the shield spell.
That's pretty crazy.
For 3 key points.
That's pretty crazy.
Or 2 for just yourself. I think you're going to like this one. This is Protean.
Yes.
I worked hard on this one. I almost didn't include it, but I think I found a way. At 11th level, you channel the whole of your being into every strike you deal, and you are uniquely committed to the types of damage you harness as you dish it out. After you've used an attack, you gain resistance to the damage of the type of attack you just used until the beginning of your next turn in combat, or until you use an attack of another damage type.
That's so freaking cool, dude.
Yeah.
I see there were 2. I was thinking you might take it a different direction. I was thinking you might take it in to the point where you could, like, by spending a key point, you could change the type of damage that one of your attacks does. But I like this way better. This is super cool.
Yeah. This resistance applies to any attack you commit to, even spell attacks by way of a magic item or similar means.
Hell yeah.
Any attack that comes from you, you will become temporarily for a turn resistant to that type.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I chose to go with resistances instead of the stab bonus equivalent, because in most cases when you become a single type via Protean in Pokemon, you are more often than not resistant to that same type. That's just how most of the types work.
Yeah.
So that was the property I wanted to emulate the most out of that.
Mm-hmm.
This is also why when I made this ability, I went back and changed the Ninjato damage. Originally, it was just like a short sword and shuriken, and they were both piercing. But then I had this, and I'm like, wait, this dude slashes with that thing all the time. It's got to be a slashing weapon, and also, you know, bludgeoning from your unarmed strikes. Like that's 3 just off rip.
Yeah,
that you have access to as a monk, and
I feel
more like as a subclass. Right?
I feel like monks also get the ability to choose to do force damage with their unarmed, like at later levels. That might be a playtest thing.
Okay,
that might be like one of the new
specifically remember that, but I would believe you. Did I also mention earlier that the liquid arsenal becomes magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity when you gain key empowered strikes?
I don't know if you did, but that is a good distinction.
They do that. Our last one here is flowing momentum. You will recognize this quickly. At 17th level, you've become one with your liquid arsenal and enter a flow state as you fight with it, gaining momentum as your strikes land. You know this guy. This state is entered after successfully landing 5 strikes with your unarmed strikes or liquid arsenal. While in your flow state, you gain 10 feet of walking speed and +1 to your attack bonus. You also become able to gather water faster and summon much larger versions of your watery shuriken and ninja toe. When you attack with these weapons, your martial arts die is rolled twice. These upgraded weapons may only be used to attack when taking the attack action. So not for extra attack or anything like that. You're reverted back to using the original forms of these weapons for those attacks. But
so they don't count for like flurry of blows?
No.
Gotcha.
Your flow state ends at the end of combat or if you are paralyzed, petrified, or incapacitated.
Hell yeah.
Flowing momentum is obviously that's Battle Bond.
Yep.
That's the one I think needs just like the slightest adjustment because it's got a bunch of different things going on. The thing I'm, I guess, most conflicted about is the stat changes, the 10 feet of walking speed and the +1 to attack bonus.
What level do you get flow state at again?
17.
I feel like that's good though.
I feel like they gotta be fine.
Yeah.
Because notably what Battle Bond does post, I think, Gen 8 is it just gives you a +1 to attack speed and special attack.
I think so, yeah.
Also, I didn't want to make it contingent on a kill.
Yeah. Because like that's so much easier to do in Pokemon than it is in D&D, especially if you're fighting one very difficult enemy.
It's also like there's less moral quandary with doing that in Pokemon.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
Like
it's a little less.
You got to kill a man to activate this ability,
right? It's a little less monk-like.
Yeah, at no point have we designated this class as like a killer,
right?
So I didn't feel like that was appropriate. For
no, I think landing a certain number of strikes is good.
Yeah, especially when you have something like flurry of blows available to you.
Yeah,
that works for me. Do you think the +1 to the attack bonus could be any more?
I was gonna say you could maybe make it like a +2 or plus. I wouldn't say +3.
I wouldn't say +3 either.
I think +2 is good.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that makes some sense to me. I'm very happy with how this came together and synergizes with itself.
Man, I really don't have many notes. Like I can look at that subclass and I can pick out that's this move that Greninja has. That's this ability Greninja has. And like it feels like Greninja, which is my favorite thing. Yeah. I think the only thing that popped into my head when you were talking about it was the Smash Bros. Greninja moveset. But I don't think that's necessarily like contingent like around it's not a Greninja signature thing. But I was thinking of the Shadow Step thing.
Shadow Sneak, yeah.
Yeah, Shadow Sneak.
I did consider that quite a bit. I almost made the third ability some type of Shadow Sneak. But I at the end of the day decided that it just was too similar to Shadow Step from Way of Shadow.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately why I didn't go with that. But like I really, really considered that because it's a huge part of how Greninja's represented and also like part of his core moveset in the games.
And also, I was thinking about it as you were talking, because the other one that popped into my head obviously was Substitute. Greninja in Smash Bros. It's a very common used move for Greninja. It's your counter. And I was thinking about it, I was like, man, how would I put Substitute as like a class ability?
Yeah.
And I don't think I would. I think it would be a spell. So I was like, oh.
That's true, isn't it? Oh, that would be a really interesting spell too.
Can you imagine that as like a third level, like counter spell type?
Oh, man.
Spell, like instead of countering as.
I mean, It depends on how you translate substitute, because like if you were to make it, literal to how it appears in the games, then like that's a weird one, and probably like 6th level or higher.
Yeah, the actual substitute move from Pokemon games would be a very much higher one. If I'm taking the one from Smash Bros, I think the way I would do it is that it would be like a 3rd level reaction spell where when you would take damage, you can cast the spell and then you take like 2d6 I don't know, psychic damage or something. You take 2d6 damage and then you immediately teleport up to 30 feet away and leave behind an illusory double that takes the damage for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, other than that, like me just thinking like, oh, these would be cool too. Like it was, at no point was I like, I don't know if I would have done that. Like everything about that subclass is like, that's Greninja.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. This is one of the subclasses I've made that I'm like the most satisfied with. It all works together. It's good.
It's beautiful.
What do you got?
I have a couple. I went a little crazy. So the one that I want to start with is old Skinny Legs himself. The skinniest legged boy in Pokemon. But it's not anybody. It's Darkrai.
It's Darkrai. What do you mean skinny legs?
I'm about to show
you.
Wait
a fucking second. I feel like I've seen this before.
I think you have.
Okay, why is this a thing?
I don't know, bro, but they put that shit in the anime. No hesitation. Darkrai got skinny ass legs.
Here I was thinking like this was the result of like a glitch or something in a game. They just did that. They actually just drew it like that.
Yeah. He's got a whole ass anime episode with skinny legs.
So that's so weird. Oh my god, man. It looks really bad with legs, dude.
It's terrifying. It's so unnerving. But anyway, Darkrai, for those of you who don't know, is a legendary Pokemon from Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. The antithesis to Cresselia. Cresselia being like the crescent moon Pokemon. Darkrai being the new moon Pokemon, or no moon. So I have created the new moon sorcerer.
Okay.
Whether you were born beneath it, bound to it, or completed a ritual to it, you have been infused with the silvery, illusory power of the new moon and its darkness. When you take the subclass at 1st level, you gain Child of the Moon. You gain dark vision out to a range of 120 feet. Additionally, you gain proficiency in the stealth skill if you do not already have it. When you reach 3rd level in this class, you learn the invisibility spell, which does not count against your number of sorcerer spells known. You may cast invisibility in this way by expending a spell slot or by spending 2 sorcery points. The other 1st level ability you get is Shifting Shadows. While you are in dim light or darkness, you are surrounded by an illusion that makes you appear to be standing in a place near your actual location, causing any creature to have disadvantage on attack rolls against you.
Wow.
If you take damage, this property ceases to function until the start of your next turn. The property is suppressed while you are incapacitated, restrained, or otherwise unable to move. And again, that is only active in dim light or darkness.
But it's like a passive in those conditions?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, I kind of ripped that one from, what are they called? Panther Boys with the Displacer Beast.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's totally just a displacement effect. At 6th level, you gain the ability Dark Pulse. You can harness the power of darkness to unleash a wave of shadowy energy. As an action, you can expend 4 sorcery points to unleash a 15-foot radius wave of dark energy. Each creature within the range must make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the target takes 3d6 necrotic damage and is blinded until the end of its next turn. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and is not blinded. Starting at 14th level, you get Dark Void. You may cast a levitate spell on yourself at will. Additionally, when you are in dim light or darkness, as a bonus action, you may teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space that's also in dim light or darkness. In addition, you can tap into the abyssal power of the night to plunge creatures into a deep slumber. As an action, you can spend 5 sorcery points to unleash a wave of darkness in a 30-foot radius centered on yourself. Each creature of your choice within the radius must make a wisdom saving throw against your sorcerer spell save DC. On a failed save, the creature falls unconscious for 1 minute or until it takes damage or someone uses an action to shake it awake. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Additionally, the range of this feature increases to 60 feet when you reach 18th level. Also at 18th level, you get the ability Nightmare Shroud. You have mastered the silvery darkness of the new moon. You gain the ability to cast greater invisibility without spending a spell slot. You may do this a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. Additionally, any creatures unconscious as a result of your Dark Void ability take 2d6 psychic damage at the start of each of their turns while unconscious. This damage does not cause them to awaken. Finally, you can spend 5 sorcery points to cast Phantasmal Killer without expending a spell slot. When you cast Phantasmal Killer using this feature, the target cannot realize that the damage is illusory until it drops to 0 hit points.
That's brutal. Damn.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the Bad Dreams ability to show up.
Yep, exactly. Yeah,
I'm so happy it did.
I wanted to hit on Dark Void and Bad Dreams.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah.
But
you nailed both of those.
Thank you. I was really worried because I was like, I feel like Bad Dreams is just too strong for a D&D ability. That's not like way at the end of the class.
It does need to be pretty far out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
I like the addition of the blinding ability.
Yeah.
Like I like that you leaned into the status conditions. Dark Void is hard to justify as an early level kind of ability.
Yeah.
So having like something else notable early on that does a different, like way less scary status condition.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, I wanted to put as much Darkrai flavor into every ability as possible.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of these like abilities that you get at varying levels have a ton of things that you get. So I'm fully aware that it's one of the stronger subclasses in existence right now, just by way of the amount of things it lets you do.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's Darkrai.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he can't be good in Pokemon, at least make him good in D&D. Free my boy.
He is good in Pokemon.
Well, I mean, Darkrai is good in Pokemon, but his fucking signature moves dog shit.
Dark Void?
Dark Void.
Isn't Dark Void like banned?
No, they nerfed the hell out of it.
Did they?
Yeah, man.
Oh no.
In Gen 9, it only has 50% accuracy.
Oh no.
They just nerfed the hell out of it. It's actually worse than Hypnosis.
Yeah, isn't it?
But yeah, anyway, for those of you who are completely baffled by what we're talking about, in Pokemon, Darkrai's signature move is called Dark Void. And what it does is it puts all Pokemon on the opposing side of the field to sleep. And then Darkrai has the ability Bad Dreams. Sleeping enemies lose 1/8 of their maximum HP at the end of each turn. And it also learns moves like Dream Eater that will siphon HP from enemies. So that was the theming that I kind of went with for the Sorcerer build. And also Darkrai's whole thing of just teleporting you through the darkness and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very good. Very good theming.
Hell yeah.
What are the stat bonuses, if any, that this subclass provides?
No specific stat bonuses. Okay. Yeah, that would be more of a racial thing. I couldn't
remember if you said anything like that.
No, you gain proficiency in stealth at first level, but that was probably it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I had another one.
What did it?
The subclass is called the Blazing Phoenix Fighter. So this is Blaziken. So the Blazing Phoenix is a fighter subclass that embodies the ferocity and power of the legendary Phoenix. Warriors who follow this path harness the fiery energy of the mythical bird, unleashing devastating attacks that scorch their enemies. However, wielding such intense power comes with a price, as the Blazing Phoenix must endure the flames of their own abilities. Phoenix Fury. You gain proficiency in the acrobatics skill, reflecting your agile combat style. Additionally, when you take the subclass at 3rd level, you gain the ability to channel the fiery essence of the Phoenix into your attacks. As a bonus action on your turn, you can ignite your weapon, causing it to flare with intense flames until the end of your turn. Your weapon attacks deal an additional 1d6 fire damage while ignited. You can use that ability a number of times equal to your proficiency modifier. I might extend the duration on that a little bit because I just realized I have that till the end of the turn. I was trying to figure out a good way to, like, should it be something you have to activate every turn, or should it be something that, you know, you activate once and it lasts for a minute? I'd probably go with lasts for a minute. Then at level 7, you get Phoenix Flare. You learn to unleash a devastating charge attack reminiscent of a flaming meteor. On your turn, you may use your action to make a Phoenix Flare attack. When you do so, you leap into the air and twist your body, soaring back down with the ferocity and heat of a meteor. You leap to an unoccupied space you can see within 10 feet of you, causing a burst of fire when you impact the ground. You may not move farther than your maximum movement speed per round, so if you don't have 10 feet of movement remaining, you can't use it. Every creature within a 10-foot radius of where you landed must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, they take 2d6 fire damage and 2d6 bludgeoning damage and are knocked prone. On a successful save, they take half damage and are not knocked prone. When you make this attack, you take half of the bludgeoning damage dealt as your reckless attack takes its toll on your body.
Nice.
At level 10, you get Blazing Resilience. Your connection to the Phoenix grants you resilience against fire and heat. You gain resistance to fire damage. Additionally, when you take fire damage, you can use your reaction to absorb some of the flames, reducing the damage taken after applying your resistance by an amount equal to your fighter level plus your constitution modifier. You can use that ability again, number of times equal to your proficiency modifier. At level 15, you get Searing Sky. As an action, you can leap 15 feet into the air, then make a high-speed dive towards a target within 30 feet of you. The target must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, they take 8d6 bludgeoning damage plus 4d6 fire damage. On a successful save, they take half damage. After using Searing Sky, you suffer from the recoil, taking half of the total damage dealt to the target, rounded down, as fire damage. That one, again, I'll have to do a little bit of tweaking on the damage that you take back. Like, if it's fire damage, is it affected by your resistance?
Right. Yeah.
A little bit of tweaking there. But level 18, you get Phoenix Ascension. You achieve the pinnacle of your connection to the Phoenix, gaining the ability to temporarily transcend your mortal limits. Once per long rest, you can enter a state of Phoenix Ascension as a bonus action. While in Phoenix Ascension, you gain the following benefits for 1 minute. Your weapon attacks deal an additional 1d10 fire damage. You have advantage on dexterity saving throws. Your movement speed increases by 10 feet. You can use Phoenix Flare and Searing Sky each once per turn in replacement of one of your attacks per action, rather than using an entire action. After Phoenix Ascension ends, you gain 3 levels of exhaustion as the fiery energy leaves your body drained. Additionally, your maximum hit points are reduced by an amount equal to your fighter level for 24 hours, representing the toll that channeling such intense power takes on your body.
That's our mega.
And there's Phoenix Flare and Searing Sky are based primarily off of 2 of Blaziken's moves.
Yeah, Flare Blitz and what's it? Bravebird?
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Yes, exactly.
Nice. I like making Flare Blitz an AoE. That's really neat.
Mm-hmm.
You got to manage your health quite a lot.
Yes. That is something that I wanted to be a huge part of the subclass because in Pokemon, Blaziken is a massive glass cannon. You deal a lot of damage, you take a lot of damage. Does not have very good defenses. Yeah. And also, Flare Blitz and Brave Bird are both recoil moves. So when you hit, you take damage as well. Yep. So it's kind of a high risk, high reward.
Yeah. That's interesting. I forget. Does Flare Blitz scale with the amount of people you hit with it for recoil?
In Pokemon, it scales the recoil damage scales with how much damage you deal. On here, I don't think I did.
Okay.
Wait, actually, the way it's worded, yes, it does.
Oh, gee.
I didn't realize that until you said that. Yeah. When you make this attack, you take half of the bludgeoning damage dealt.
Okay. Yeah. I would tweak that. The fact that it hits the ground makes me think that it should be a set value or amount of damage dice that you take in recoil.
I was going to say I could just switch it to just a static 2d6 bludgeoning
I think
damage.
that would be appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, since you're dealing 4d6 total as damage to everything else, that makes sense to me. I think that's good.
And then Blazing Resilience, resistance to fire damage.
What level do you get the Flare Blitz one?
Flare Blitz is level 7.
That's pretty good.
That's
pretty good.
I wanted one of them to definitely be an AoE and one of them to be targeted. And I felt like Brave Bird was a better targeted attack than
I think
Flare
so.
Blitz.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and then you nailed it. Phoenix Ascension being the mega evolution.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
These were both so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
So much fun to do.
We're probably going to do quite a few more of these.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
These are so, this is a really good thought exercise for us, especially because, man, like I said, we think about both Pokemon and D&D under this weird specific microscope all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to do the more of these for sure. And I also want to really look into what it would take to make some Pokemon moves into spells. Yeah. Like we were talking about with Substitute and Shadow Sneak and all that.
We've discussed that a lot and never like followed through on it.
We're going to have to do that soon.
It's hard because like often when I'm, looking at Pokemon, I'm seeing a bunch of these moves and being like, that should be a spell or something or an ability. And then it is. Like,
yeah,
for like Smokescreen and Haze or whatever, we've got like Fog.
Yeah, Fog Cloud, yeah.
Yeah, often I just find stuff that like already kind of exists.
Draco Meteor being Meteor Swarm.
Oh shit, it is, isn't it?
Double Team is Mirror Image.
Yeah. Charge Beam is interesting.
I was just about to say not Charge Beam, but I was just looking at Nasty Plot. I would be fascinated to try and do a thought experiment on how we would apply these stat boosting moves to D&D.
Wow, I haven't thought about that because there's nothing that really does that.
You know what you could do? If you make it like a 5th, 6th level spell or above, you could make it to where it boosts 2 of your stats by 2 points temporarily.
Yeah.
Like, or maybe 1 of your stats by 2 points temporarily. Yeah. But like,
I mean, like, if you have like a Dragon Dance equivalent,
yeah,
like 10 feet movement, +1 strength.
Yeah. I was thinking for Swords Dance, you could do +2 to your strength and +2 to your constitution.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe for Swords Dance, it would probably be strength and dexterity.
I think you're right.
Because that covers for finesse weapons.
Yeah.
But yeah, then like Nasty Plot, you could increase your, I feel like charisma and wisdom would be the 2. Because that covers for 90% of casters. It doesn't affect wizards, it'd be the bummer.
Yeah. I can't justify not affecting wizards.
I know.
I think just +1 to your spellcasting modifier.
Yeah.
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 I think that's all you have to do with that.
That's very, very true. I would love to come up with a set of spells to replicate the weather moves in D&D.
Yeah. Yeah. Something.
And like specifically like increase the amount of damage that fire spells and attacks deal under the sun and decrease the amount that like cold spells deal.
So
under.
Rain Dance specifically is something that I've been thinking about for Swampert. Spoilers for whenever I cover that. Because in looking at Swampert and all of the things he could possibly do, I'm drawn to the mega because I just love that mega design so much. And specifically Swift Swim.
Oh yeah. Your walking speed increases by however much in the rain.
Yeah, and like you gotta have some sort of rain dance.
Dude, can you imagine foul play as a spell?
Yes.
Where you cast it targeting like a melee enemy and it deals damage to them equal to their strongest attack.
Yeah. Equal to their strongest attack. That's crazy.
Or like they're not like ability, like melee attack.
Right. Yeah.
It's like if you cast it on like a barbarian or something with like 20 strength using a great axe, it deals 1d12 plus
the thing
5
about
or something.
The thing about foul play though is that it's a physical damaging move. Often used by or portrayed as used by Pokemon that are physical attackers. Like Zoroark is a really good example of this. Like they portray Zoroark as using foul play a lot. And the way I've always thought about it is that it's a physical attack that uses dexterity to leverage the opponent's strength against them.
So maybe you just use their strength modifier instead of...
I think so. And in doing so, I think it would be a really good monk ability.
That would be a really good monk ability.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so fun.
like you choose to use the opponent's strength mod I think is how I would do it.
Yeah. Knockoff would be a sick martial ability to maybe give to like a barbarian or something, where it's like just a melee attack and the target has to make a, I don't know, constitution save. And if they fail, they drop whatever weapon or thing they were holding.
Oh, weapon would be brutal having to pick that up.
You know what would also be a really, really funny, interesting ability? I have no idea what class or subclass I would put this on, but Spite.
Spite.
That's
I'm thinking of Hex.
Yeah. Spite cuts the power points of the previously used move against the user.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically targeting a spellcaster. Like if a spellcaster hits you with a spell, you can activate Spite as a reaction and like siphon an amount of spell levels from them equal to the level of the spell that just hit you.
Would you just like pull like one slot?
I don't know. It would have to be balanced really specifically.
Yeah.
I would say you could maybe take up to 5 levels of spells away from them. So like if you want to do 5 first level spell slots, you could do that, but you're not pulling any of the higher level ones. Or you could pull a 3rd level and 2 first levels or something like that. Or we could go with something as simple as it costs an additional spell level. So like if they hit you with the 5th level, it takes away another 5th level. The balance is hard. I don't think you could do that one.
PowerPoints are just way too different.
Maybe you would siphon half of the spell levels rounded down. You know what else I've wanted to fuck around with and try and put into D&D? Items from Pokemon.
Ooh.
Really quick, while we're still on moves,
yes.
though, I just saw Calm Mind. Defensive boosting stats.
Oh no.
Would that give you an armor class boost?
Okay. I think you would have to specify them a lot. And make them Well, shit. I don't know. I was going to say make them resistances.
Wait. +1 to saving throws.
You could do +1 to saving throws.
Because Calm Mind is specifically special defense, which is like spell defense.
Here's the thing. Calm Mind is a very specifically flavored move. And I think you could pull the idea of Calm Mind away from its in-game mechanics a little bit and say that you get resistance to psychic damage.
Ooh.
And +1 to the spell save DC of spells that deal psychic damage. Maybe that's way too specific. Fuck.
You could say they deal an additional damage die.
Yeah, that would be enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
that would
just
be
add
enough.
one more.
Uh-huh.
Because there's a lot of stuff that deals psychic damage, honestly. There's there are cantrips that do it, and there are like some low-level spells that do it. That'd be sick. And especially if you like it rewards a specialized build. It really rewards a specialized build. And I feel like that's gonna happen with a lot of like Pokemon abilities, moves, items, whatever that we translate to D&D.
Probably.
They're gonna reward a specialized build.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things we've talked about that we like a lot is like just unnecessarily specific effects, you know?
Yeah.
And like conditional shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't mind that if we're going hog wild and adding something for everyone, because I think the main complaint from people would be that like, well, not everyone can use this, and it's like, well, yeah, kind of the point.
Exactly. Like, we're not building something that you can put on any character you want. We're making something that you would build a character to use. Because that's the thing, the whole point of Pokemon, honestly. Not every Pokemon can learn every move for good fucking reason.
Yeah. Okay, so items are difficult because a lot of them are just passive stat bonuses, effectively.
Yeah. I think some of the ones that would be the most fun to work on would be like Absorb Bulb. Like, if you're hit by a water type attack, your special attack rises.
Right.
Or like the resistance berries.
Yeah, reactive stuff like that. Or like, weakness policy.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's a hard one.
If you're hit by a move that you have a vulnerability to.
Yeah, but the problem is there's not many people or things that have vulnerabilities.
What did we just say?
Yeah, we'd have to build something to have a vulnerability. Yeah, that's very fair. That'd be sick, though. No! Oh my gosh. If you get hit by a critical hit.
If you get hit by a crit.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing you got to remember. This isn't going to hold an item slot like it does in Pokemon.
Right.
This is something you just have on you.
Yeah.
And it's a consumable thing, presumably. I feel like making it so it's like if you get hit by a crit, you gain like a damage buff for the next minute or something like that.
Yeah. I'm going to have to think on that one. It's so...
There's a lot of
consumable
directions.
ones, the passive consumable ones are really strange to try to adapt. It's like, how do you flavor that?
Right. You want to hear one that'll really melt your brain?
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
Here's what I think I would do is would not make the item itself consumable. I would give it passive charges that reset at dawn.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
Just make that like a one a day. If you get hit by a crit, you do crazy damage.
Yeah.
For the next minute.
You could even make it so that it's like if you let's say it has 3 charges.
That's a lot. You
get hit by a crit. Well, here's what I'm thinking. You get hit by a crit. Maybe 2. We'll go with 2 charges. You get hit by a critical attack. You can spend 1 charge to, for the next minute, give yourself 1 additional damage dice on all of your attacks.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Or you could spend both of those charges to give yourself 2 additional damage dice.
Oh, that is good. Yeah.
So like, you could save it and see if you need it. Maybe I think it would necessarily need to last for less than a minute then.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe like the next 2 attacks or something. Like your next turn.
So,
your next turn.
Yeah. You could, turn or 2 even. 2 would be fine.
The reason why I'm thinking 1 turn is because if you give it to a monk.
Oh, fuck. Okay, fuck that. Yeah. No, you're right. 1 turn. You're so right.
Yeah, on your next turn. Yeah, that would be fucking Jesus. 2 additional damage dice for the whole turn is already a lot to be scared of for a monk. But yeah.
That's so funny on a monk, actually. Holy shit.
That would be fucking hilarious. You want to hear another one that'll just melt your brain? Mirror Herb.
Mirror Herb.
Copies an opponent's stat increases.
Oh, fuck.
How in the hell would we use that?
I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't.
We're tapping out.
I wouldn't make it stat increases.
No, God, no. It would have to be something really specific.
It would have to be something else. What is a condition, a positive condition that you could mirror? Yeah.
What if, perchance...
What? You can't just say perchance.
You could... What if the Mirror Herb, and this would make it a very high rarity item.
Yes.
What if you could copy legendary resistance?
Oh.
If you are going up against something that uses a legendary resistance, you also, and you can see it within 30 feet of you, you also gain 1 legendary resistance.
Oh.
And you can do that. That happens once per day.
I kind of like that.
Because like, how sick would that be in like the BBEG fight at the end of a campaign where you're in it and you're dying and they use a legendary resistance and your Mirror Herb procs, and then they come at you with an effect or something. You go, actually, I watched you do this.
This is like competitive also, but defensive.
Yeah.
I like that. That is kind of cool.
It's really fun. And then you got shit like the Big Root.
What's that do?
Recovers more hit points from HP stealing moves.
Oh.
You could have that apply to healing.
Yeah.
1 additional healing die.
Actually, that's pretty good.
This is way more fun than I thought it was going to be. And I thought it was going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
But can you imagine? Nondescript, mind you. We're not going specific. Megastones.
Megastone.
I think they would have to be like a legendary rarity or above.
What does it even do, though?
That's the thing. No one knows. I don't know. You expect me to know? I had an idea. It's not my job to know what the idea does.
Man. What?
I don't know.
That's what this podcast is for.
I'm thinking, Sam. I'm thinking. I feel like it would do something similar to, like, obviously not to the same extent, but something similar to the final ability of the Blazing Phoenix subclass, where like it just severely enhances your capabilities for like a minute, and then you go down.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, honestly, and you could flavor them all after the different mega evolutions.
You could if you wanted to, or you could just make it one, just mega stone. And like if you necessarily, I think you'd at least have to have 1 for each class.
Yeah.
I think your idea is better.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think all of the mega evolutions that exist, like, cover all of the,
in one way or another,
all of the types of builds that people do. And I think several are applicable to multiple classes. If you were to translate them.
Yeah.
That's extremely abstract, but we will probably come back to that idea in a thought out manner.
Yeah, that would be fun. Choice items.
I don't want to talk about choice items.
No.
I thought about that. There's no. Okay, well, they're cursed items.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Scarf and band. I don't know.
I feel like Scarf would be the unique one. I think band and specs would be mirrors of each other.
Really?
I think what it would be is choice banned, cursed item. While you are attuned to it, you cannot activate magical abilities of any other items or cast spells.
Okay. Yeah.
And then it gives you a serious damage boost.
Right.
Choice specs, I think it would be you can't activate magical abilities of items and you cannot make melee attacks.
Yes. I would have to say so.
Ooh,
That's the
for
only way to make
specs,
that happen.
imagine it one level upcasts every spell that you cast.
That's good. That's funny. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for banned, you could have it where it increases your damage die by 1.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're normally rolling a d6, you roll a d8.
Right.
Yeah, and I think for Scarf, honestly, you could probably just do it where you can't activate the abilities of magical items. And your speed increases by like 20 feet or something like that. And maybe your armor class increases by 1 as well.
Yeah.
Ooh, I just saw an item that lends itself very well to a subclass of some kind.
Yeah.
There are a couple different Pokemon that have effects like this. I just saw the item Burn Drive.
What does that do?
It is an item for Genesect.
Oh.
Changes Technoblast to a fire type move. Imagining Arceus's plates. Imagining Silvali's memories. The drives for Genesect.
Okay, so this is getting into a type of item that I've been workshopping for a little bit, where equipping it just adds a damage type to your weapon attacks.
Ooh.
That's what I feel like that's kind of doing.
Yeah, kind of. Oh, Sam.
What?
This is an Artificer subclass.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Yeah, because you could justify having just like a spell that is an analog for Technoblast.
Yeah, or a weapon. Just a weapon in general.
Or a weapon. You could tie it in with an Artificer infusion.
Yes. Because what I'm thinking, there are 3 different types of like type changing items with Arceus, Silvally, Genesect.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 3 different ways that you can plug in an element to your character, like maybe 1 for damage, 1 for like resistance, and 1 for I don't know, like a passive effect or something. That could be pretty cool.
Yeah. This doesn't cause this to not work, but there are less viable damage types to use like that in D&D than there are in Pokemon.
Possibly. I feel like there is a comparable enough number, because you could throw in bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing.
Could you? Those are the ones I have the hardest time justifying personally.
Really?
Yeah. Because like Radiant makes sense to me. Fire makes sense to me.
Radiant, fire, cold, acid, poison.
I can maybe even justify necrotic.
Yeah, necrotic, force damage, psychic damage. I think there is a comparable enough. I think
what's that, 7?
There is acid, cold, fire, force, lightning, necrotic, poison, psychic, radiant, thunder.
Okay,
so
that's
10.
enough.
Yeah,
that's enough. Yeah,
that's
justifiable.
Doable.
Yeah, because with like the purely physical ones, it's like, okay, is the fucking sword also punching you? You know,
add bludgeoning damage to your sword. It's just like a 6-inch thick sword.
Yeah, it's the Buster Sword, actually. It's the Dragon Slayer. We have a lot of fun doing this kind of thing very often, obviously. And we will be back to do it again.
Yes.
So
we have recently been going back through our own episodes and pulling content that we said we'll come back to that.
And then never did.
Yeah.
For like 20 episodes.
We're making a list. So yeah, don't hold your breath.
We're going to come back around to some earlier stuff. Hey, we hope you had fun with this episode. We're gonna do more like these, not like all the time, but every now and then. I think we're gonna do more like these. So if you have shit from Pokemon or anything else, or just your own creation, obviously, because this is the podcast for homebrew and homies, that you want to submit to us, you should do so at summongreater on Twitter or summongreaterpod@gmail.com. Yeah, we hope to see you in our little inboxes, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
We get lonely.
He gets lonely.
Please.
I have Beanie Babies.
Hell yeah.